Many thanks for staying with us on the conversation. And today, we're diving deep into the rich tapestry of Yoruba heritage as we explore the beauty of the Yoruba language and culture. The Yoruba culture is one of the most vibrant and celebrated in the world, known for its captivating proverbs, rhythmic language, colorful traditions, and deep-rooted values. But in this era of globalization, how do we preserve its essence for generations to come? Joining us here this morning is Tayo Bello, popularly known as Washiri. He's a visual artist, content creator, and researcher who has dedicated his career to celebrating and preserving the Yoruba heritage. I also know that his roots is firmly planted in the culturally rich community of Ajegunle. We'll find out all about that later on in the program. Tayo Bello, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, I'd like you to share with us your journey as an artist and how your background in theater, okay, has influenced your work today, what you do.
Actually, my background in theater is the greatest influence on me today. And it started, I decided to study theater when every other person was expecting me to study law or something, because I was always reading books. So they thought I was going to study law. But I knew that I was going to do theater because I was deeply in love with literature. And I had a group of teachers who were just quite very artistically minded.
Yeah, at the Obafemi Awolowo University, right?
Yes, I did at the Obafemi. Great Ife.
Great.
So I loved literature, and I loved drama, you know. And I could have gone, I could have studied literature, but then that would have been boring. Drama kind of encompasses all of these things. It brings together both literature and
I would have thought you would have gone into acting after studying theater arts.
I was quite very shy.
Yes, like me.
Don't seem
So-
shy.
Like me, very shy.
So I couldn't.
Yeah.
I did a few acting, but then I did more directing. So that way I expressed myself more.
Okay.
So now let's talk about what inspired your passion for promoting the Yoruba culture and heritage.
Really, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it must have been because of the so many years I lived with my grandmother.
And where was
Though,
Yeah,
I lived with my grandmother.
I saw
in,
your
Where?
social media
in Isha,
page.
my hometown
In
in
Osun
Osun State.
She's late now, right?
She's late.
Yeah, I saw you
She's late.
celebrating her on your social media
We're
page.
quite very close.
Very close, yeah.
Yeah, so I was born in Ajegunle, here in Lagos, but at 14 I moved to my hometown because she needed somebody to
Stay with
take care
her.
of her. At that time, she was
That's
quite
so
very
thoughtful
old.
of you.
So it was from there, you know, that was where I actually got entrenched in a proper Yoruba setting. That was when I started hearing proverbs. You don't hear a lot of these things in Ajegunle. Nobody even speaks proper Yoruba.
You speak
there.
pidgin.
But then I met kids who were younger than me and who spoke the language very richly, and I felt challenged. And that really did a lot of, I mean, my grandmother would gather us, she would tell us tales, all of these interesting things that you don't get in the city. And the environment generally just, you know, encouraged me to do this thing. And when I thought of doing something on the internet, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay, during my intro earlier, I said Yoruba is often described as a poetic and expressive language. You know, why do you think, you know, Yoruba is unique? Because that is what you speak most of the time.
Because the language, for anybody who keenly, you really don't even have to pay extra attention to notice the music in the language itself. That's why it seems like, or you would see most of the people who excel even in the music world, most of them are Yoruba. They don't have to have extra talent. The fact that they are Yoruba alone, the language is musical, it is tonal. You know, to understand simple things like Amiohun, you've got to have a basic understanding of music just to be able to speak to you. And that's why it is quite very easy to speak. And when you begin to dive into the proverbs, the language, you know, even not even proverbs alone, just the words that we speak. When you break them down, you are wowed.
Okay, can you give us an example?
Like when we say something like Ela loro, be akobala, ki ye ni, you know, And that means that every word in Yoruba has to be broken down. If you haven't broken it down, you won't understand it. Even the word alaye itself, for instance. Alaye, to shalaye. Englishman will just say explain.
Explain.
And that's just it. Yoruba is alaye, that is that which is split so that you can understand.
Split and understand.
You split it, then you understand it. So that word alone, you know, you'll be wowed at the level of depth you can arrive. When we say itumo, kini itumo goto nsonye. Tu means to lose, you know, to untie, to unravel. Then imo is knowledge. So itu imo.
Open up
You open it up so that we can draw out knowledge from it, and that's what they call meaning. But meaning is boring. But when you hear itumo and you think about it deeply,
it's not itumo.
Itumo.
Itumo. No, I'm also guilty.
I'm surprised.
No, I'm also guilty because if he hadn't said it now, I wouldn't have been able to. I also go itumo. But you just said itumo.
Itumo. Katu. So you open it up, then you now see the meaning, you see the knowledge in it.
Oh. Okay.
So imagine we now want to go into the names that we bear.
Which you have done successfully. The one I really liked most is my father's name, Adigun. I saw it. I read it, I listened to it, I fell in love with it. I even wrote it down that you would say it on air, so that, because I know my dad is watching.
Okay, so before we go to names now, because I saw that you did a lot of content on understanding the meaning of names, Yoruba culture is rich. It's beautiful, and I really like that you have cowries on your hands and your
glasses.
Very beautiful. So let me, what excites you or what inspires you when you look at the Yoruba culture? What are those things that you find beautiful and you can't see them in other cultures?
First, the language. Secondly, when it comes to art, we excel generally. And art, both, you know, verbal, both visual and all that. And then I love to explore our mythology, the world of our deities, and the worldview of the Yoruba people. When you actually understand what how the Yoruba perceive our existence, you see a sharp contrast between that and the Western world. A sharp contrast between that and even Christianity and Islam. But because today the lines have been blurred, we are not seeing the differences, which is why what we're doing today is very important. To let people know that there is a clear, we've got a civilization that was really advanced before we started being influenced by the Western world or something. Everything about the Yoruba is just exciting. There is a meaning to everything we do. We don't do things randomly. Everything a Yoruba person does, it has a meaning for it. If his shirt is styled in a particular way, it has a meaning. Even women, when they do their hair in a particular way, the styles have meanings.
And if men wear their cap, like
everything is intentional.
Even the way women dress, I know the short oleku are for the maidens. When your wrapper is longer, it means you're married.
So everything, it's just as though they sat down to play, okay, we are going to have a specific reason for everything we do. And you find that you don't really get that in other cultures.
Okay, for our young people who hardly speak or know how to speak Yoruba, you know, these days, do you think enough is being done, you know, in incorporating Yoruba language in them, especially now that we know that, they are always on their devices? Do you think we have enough, what's it called? We have enough content in Yoruba on our digital devices?
Not enough, although we are getting there. You know, there is an obvious wave now. You know, there's a change. People are beginning to wake up to these things. You know, parents are now encouraging their children to speak the language and all. But we haven't got there. You know, we still need some time, because this is a damage that has been perpetrated for so many years. Even since before some of our parents.
Thank God for people like you.
Abi, and
at least he's young. He's speaking Yoruba. He's analyzing it very well.
And parents need to know, because it's really sad when parents talk about their children not being able to speak Yoruba, and they say it with pride. They say it with a sense
it's a shame.
of parents do it well. No. And they're happy. But they're not that happy when the child can't speak English. They are ashamed that their children can't speak English.
I think I've said
but when it comes to Yoruba, I mean, even if you speak it and you don't speak it well, some even intentionally bastardize it so that they can look tush.
Yes.
Yes. Some intentionally speak Yoruba in a very, they just speak it in a very funny way so that they can look, at least they are learning that way. But if you speak it well, you are local.
I've said it. I think I've said it on this program before that, my daughter, recently she did it again. She went to Abuja and she was amongst the Hausa Fulani people. And I called her. I said, how are you? She said, Muwakwa, Shalafia Lewa. Why are you speaking Yoruba? Why are you speaking Yoruba? And we had a full, conversation in Yoruba. And I said, so when she came back, I said, why were you speaking? She said, when they were speaking their Hausa, I was looking.
Now imagine she couldn't speak the language.
Imagine she couldn't. She wanted to show them that, look, me too, I'm vast in my language.
So I want you now to speak on the advantages of learning how to speak the Yoruba language, especially for parents who don't think there's a need to.
First, because the Yoruba already says, Agbabo Shokoto, Biko Funi Lese, Ashoni.
Okay.
Now, Agbabo Shokoto, borrowed trousers never fit. When you borrow something, it's either too tight or too loose, but your own thing will always fit you. I can't impress a white man by speaking his language to him. I can't impress a white man by talking to him about his own culture. The only thing I have to brag about is what belongs to me. So, I mean, your children, one thing that comes with language is a sense of identity. You can't know how to speak your language and not know that you are Yoruba and not have it ingrained in your consciousness that you are Yoruba. That is what people, you think what you're losing is just the language. No, you're losing everything that comes with the language, which includes the culture, the person's sense of pride, the person's sense of identity. That's why you see today all over the US and, people, Yorubas in the diaspora, there's a strong yearning to connect with their roots because they feel lost. They can't connect with anything there. They are neither Yoruba, nor are they English. The white man treats you like you're not a part of them, and you can't connect with your Yoruba people because you don't. So now they are strongly yearning to just connect with their roots and all that. So it's because we are here, we're not seeing how dire the situation is until you leave and then you are among people that are not like you, that don't even look like you. That's when you're going to see the meaning of community. You're going to know what it means to actually have a sense of belonging to a community. So you meet people, you can't speak your language. You meet your own people in places that, okay, you are very few in population and you can't communicate in your own language. It's not just the language. With the language comes the culture. It comes the wisdom. Yoruba, before we say proverbs, sometimes we say, "Àwọn baba wa bọ̀." Wọ́n sọ wípé that expression, "Àwọn baba wa bọ̀," some will say, "Wọ́n lọ, wọ́n bọ̀." That proverb is a result of so many years of experiences, of travels. As I would say, wọ́n bọ̀. They returned and they said this, which means a lot has gone into the making of that proverb itself. So now, if you can't speak that proverb, you have lost everything that happened before that proverb came. When it is as bad as you not even knowing the meaning of your own name, to the Yoruba, naming is not just for identification. It's like we're prophesying into your life. That's why every name, most of our names are positive in the meaning. So when you understand those names, we say when you know the meaning of your name, it is enough to take you out of depression sometimes. It is enough to encourage your own self, to motivate your own self.
Like my
when you
own.
know the meaning of your name.
Nobody
can convince you that you're lacking in anything.
You see?
You're born complete.
You're born complete.
Adebimpe, born
Thank you,
completely
my father
royal.
and my mother, for giving me such a beautiful name.
So those are the kind of names. You don't give people names like Stone or White or Brown.
We're talking about this.
Or Bottle.
We don't do that, yeah. Our names carry weight. They carry meaning. The names are prayers themselves.
Exactly.
So now that you have just talked about how powerful the Yoruba names are, then you have parents who prefer to give their children hybrid names. I wanted to say
Yoruba
that.
person. A Yoruba person whose child's name is Jaden Smith, Dorcas.
And they're proud to say that.
And because we've been westernized, a lot of people, we thought we got independent. We haven't really been. Our minds are not independent. Our minds are still colonized.
Yes,
our minds are still enslaved. Fela said, the colonial masters have given you freedom, but you haven't freed yourselves. So we haven't really freed ourselves. We still have people who are ashamed of speaking the language publicly. Some parents will feel ashamed if their children speak the language publicly. Till today. No, it's not happening to you, so you don't know. But this is what we are facing. You know, some people, they don't just want to, because we still feel, when the white man does something, we can easily accept it because the white man has done it. Which is why a lot of the cultures, a lot of the very abnormal things they're doing today, we are embracing them because it is done there. Some of the things we are criticizing today is because those guys have not endorsed it. The moment they endorse it, we still feel inferior. So we haven't, even those that say we're black and proud are not really black and proud. You know, we don't, that's the only reason why I would give birth to a child now and I will give the child an English name. Why would I do that? A white man does not give his own child a Yoruba name. So today, many people don't consider themselves properly married if they haven't been taken to some place where you wear a white gown and the man has to wear a suit and all that. Nothing wrong with that.
Conversation for another
day. Nothing really wrong with that. But then the fact that you don't consider yourself properly married until you do that, that is their own traditional marriage there. That's their own traditional marriage. That's how they do. That's their own tradition there.
But we still do engagement.
So that's the problem.
The engagement is the reason.
That's the problem. The fact that
make it look as
if it's a small,
the minor one.
Yes.
The fact that you do your engagement, you wear ofi and agbada and all that, but that is not enough until you validate it with the white man style by wearing some gown. What's your business?
Speak your Yoruba if you want to speak it. Okay, still talking about proverbs and of course oriki. They are integral to Yoruba language. When I was going through your social media page, I love the analysis of will I call it oriki or yes, oriki of Ogun, Lakaye, Oshimole. Am I right? Okay. I loved the analysis. It was it resonated a lot to me. I'd like you to talk about Ogun, which many people see as
some bloodthirsty deity.
Bloodthirsty deity. Thank you. Right? No, it's the god of iron. Ogun is the god of iron. Okay. You need to listen to this analysis.
Well, let's start with the name Ogun. That word Gun, which is present in the Oriki Adigun that we talked about. Gun is a word that means, these words, most of them are quite difficult to translate into English, but we'll try. That was a gun reggae. It means it perfectly fits. If you say, okay, for instance, Ajegunle, Ajegun, that word Gun means to pierce. So Ajegunle, it means Aje has been firmly rooted here. So Gun would mean when something is firmly rooted, when something is established. And that is what the iron does. Where we are today would not have been able to stand without iron. Iron enables establishment. It pierces the ground, and then it just brings it's a stronghold.
Pillar.
Ogun is therefore the one who establishes, the one who makes things stand, which is the whole essence of what an iron does. No car would move without an iron. No skyscraper would exist without iron. No structure would exist without iron. No phone, no technology. Ogun enables our world. That's the deity of technology. We now call him Lakaye Osin Imole. Ola to Kariaye. Because where in this world is iron not relevant? So when our people talked, they weren't just being religious. They understood something scientific about iron, which is expressed in how what we call appeasing of the deities today. Now, you see some people, they pour palm oil on, a bunch of iron. And you see religion in that. No, that is the scientific way of preserving metal, by greasing it, by lubricating it. So that putting of palm oil on metal is not pure religion. they are actually experimenting. They are showing us something. You know, they say Ọlá tó kárí ayé, ọ̀sìn, ìmọ́lẹ̀, and irúnmọlẹ̀ that we appease, tá ń sìn, Ògún lákáyé, ọ̀sìnmọ́lẹ̀. And that is even, you know, every story of Ogun, even starting from it's coming, because mythologically we're told that Ogun, being the deity of iron, is the one who was, okay, he understands metallurgy. He could even, he has a group of blacksmiths that he has trained because he understands iron. So he could forge iron into weapons, into tools. So without Ogun, farming would not have been possible because the farmer needs the hoe, he needs cutlass, you know, the hunter needs Ogun. And all that. So Ogun is the one who paves way for the other deities with the cutlass by cutting the brambles that, you know, barricaded the road. So Ogun paves way for the other deities to access the human world. From that story alone, because these stories are supposed to be, you know, symbolic. They're supposed to communicate larger meanings to us. So Ogun Lano, those are the kind of things when we say that Ogun Lano, Ogun Shino. Fortunately today, many people don't want to, Ogun Shino has become Oluwa Shino.
That is the next question I was going to ask you.
I saw content like that on your page.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know some people were going to react in a funny way to it. I thought it was basic knowledge. I mean,
where you use oil to preserve iron.
Metal and
metals.
Yes, I mean, every culture has its scientific knowledge infused with religion. So in all of these things, you can see traces of religion in it, but it is wrong to completely dismiss the whole thing as just mystery and as religion. When the white man came here, he needed to make our things look ugly to us before we could accept his own. You know, those stories that we've been made to accept, normally you wouldn't have accepted them if you were thinking logically. But you needed to, I mean, if you want to say it the way it is, all of those stories are they can sound very antagonistic to common sense. You know, the things that have made us believe. They are not that lofty.
Are you a Christian or a Muslim?
I'm not religious.
Aha! I was going to ask. I knew it. Okay, you don't practice either Christianity or Islam.
I don't practice.
So how do you?
A traditional worship.
No. That's the thing.
Call of God.
Because I distinguish between spirituality and religiosity.
Okay.
So everybody is born spiritual. I've always said that everybody is born with the consciousness of the existence of something bigger than us. We all are conscious of a spiritual world. We all know that there's something immaterial.
Do you believe there's a supreme being?
Definitely.
Okay.
As a Yoruba person, I believe in Olodumare. You know, I believe and I talk to Olodumare.
Which
and
Muslims call
Allah, or it's all the same thing, really.
Call God.
We just may have different interpretations of all of this. But the point is, in fact, that's why these religions are relevant. That's why you would be either Christian or Muslim. Everything boils down to the fact that they believe in a God. That's the most important thing there. Every other thing is minor. Without that belief in God, nothing else will make sense in the religion, which is the most important thing about humanity.
So how do we preserve culture and still, I don't know.
And still remain
Christian or a Muslim.
They're not, the problem really is, I've always believed, although if you can't be fully, properly Yoruba while being Christian or Muslim, because those who were Yorubas then had no idea anything, had the idea of anything about like Christianity or Islam and all that. But today, but today we have Christianity in our midst, and its major is big. Islam is in our midst and it's big. We can't do anything about it. We can't convert all Christians. We can't, I mean, nobody should be interested in that. But it is possible to be Yoruba and be Christian at the same time. Yeah, yes, I mean, what you have problem with, what you should not want to associate yourself with because of your religion should be the worshipping of the deities and all that. But Yoruba is bigger than that. And you should seek to understand these deities beyond. You should stop looking at them through the spectacle of religion, because these things are bigger than religion. So when you see them as just religion, you are losing a whole lot of things. Like Ifa, for instance, all the proverbs we speak today are sourced from Esa Ifa. So as a Christian, would you say you don't want to use Yoruba proverbs anymore? Our names, our worldview, our philosophy, Ifa is bigger than religion. Religion is just one of the many things found in Ifa. Our scientific knowledge, You know, Lijadu, a very, very strong influence on how Christianity got entrenched in Yoruba land today, studied Ifa, and it didn't stop him from being a reverend or, you know, a cleric. So we can educate ourselves on these things. The problem is that we have demonized it in general. We don't want to associate ourselves with it and all that. And whether you like it or not, you will never be Christian enough to become white. You are still going to remain Yoruba, even as a Christian.
Another point you were trying to clarify was, you know, the understanding of issue. For me, issue is the devil. Is the bad angel, you know, but you were saying that, look, many of us do not even understand who or what issue is or what it stands for. I know we're going deep into into religion here, because I saw it and I also, you know, understand your own point of issue or what issue means. I'd like you, for those who haven't seen your analysis on social media, I'd like you to also, you know, talk about the issue.
That started with the translation of the Bible from English to Yoruba. So,
did you call it an error?
Yeah, it's an error that we're using Eshu as the devil. It's an error because Eshu has existed in our society for centuries before Christianity came here. So if Eshu is the devil, what was Eshu before Christianity? And in the Yoruba cosmology, we don't believe in the existence of the devil. In the Yoruba cosmology, there's nothing like hell. There's nothing like paradise. You know, Ifa doesn't believe in incentivizing you to do good, which is the point of paradise. If you do this, this is a reward for it. So that motivates you to be good. Many Christians and Muslims today may not be as good as they are today without the promise of a paradise or without the threat of a hellfire. Why many people may seem to be doing the right thing today could be just because they are scared of burning eternally, which in the Yoruba belief system is too cruel to imagine that a loving deity, a loving God would watch you burn. Is there something that your child can do that will warrant you to actually watch your own child burn for eternity, even as a parent, as a human being? Is there one thing? Is there that one thing that a child can do that would justify you watching the child burn for eternity? You know.
That's a conversation for another day.
That is a conversation with That's a conversation for another day.
It's a conversation. But now let's look at the challenges that the Yoruba language and culture is facing, especially in today's modern world.
Well, firstly, everything is because of what we were talking about, the fact that we were colonized. Some people don't like us talking about it. They feel like we are always blaming everything on slavery and all that. But, well, that is our reality. That thing happened for hundreds of years. A people who were enslaved for about 400 years, after which they got colonized for hundreds of years. You don't expect, and when did we get independent, in quotes, actually? Not even up to 100 years ago. So you think we would have recovered from what happened over centuries in just 60 years or something? In the next 1,000 years, we are still being affected by that thing. You know, just yesterday I saw videos of, you know, slavery, and we're just discussing. I was really, we can't really
get over it.
I mean, we still have people here who don't even know where they came. We still have people, grandfathers who have lost their own names. They can't even trace their own roots anymore. So these things are really, they are there, which is why we're going to go back to what you said earlier, that are we doing enough? So we thank goodness that, fortunately, people are beginning to wake up. We have programs. There's Mason Imbo on YouTube now, where people are challenged.
Then you begin to lose money once you make any or say any word in English.
So now that is actually making people wake up to the importance of being able to speak your language without code mixing. Because imagine a white man an uneducated white man doesn't code mix when speaking his own language. But the problem here, which is not the fault of the people.
We are bilingual.
Really.
Or multilingual.
It's a problem. We have here, look at the state of our country today. Look at the borders that were imposed on us. You know, Benin Republic has been separated from Yoruba land. These are the imperialistic borders. These were not how things were. We now
They
have
are
a
still
country.
deep-rooted in Yoruba culture.
So
Deep-rooted.
the borders. This place we are calling Nigeria today is purely a creation of the white people. They created it. They imposed those borders on us. They separated us. They shared us literally. They took part, and then they imposed the borders on us. And these things are affecting our realities today.
So how can we continue to promote Yoruba culture and language in our schools, our community, so that, you know, to ensure its survival?
Firstly, by eliminating ridiculous things like vernacular speaking. Don't speak vernacular. If you speak vernacular, and by vernacular they mean your own language.
Your language.
So if you speak your language, you're going to pay fine for speaking your language.
Yes, I went through that in school.
You know, and it's still happening till this day. You know, we are still ashamed of. You know, yes, we can't change the fact that we have to communicate in English mainly today, because I mean we have so many languages put together. So there's going to be a lot of confusion. If you want to insist on I will speak my language, you speak your language or no. But in the little ways we can make changes, let's embrace that. Why is vernacular speaking being fined in your own home?
Ostracized.
In your own house.
Even
not
in your house.
In your own house.
Yeah, there's some parents that would say speak only English.
Yeah. So we need to at least, when I see 30-year-olds who can't speak their language, they can't.
It's a shame.
They can, and in most cases, it's not even their fault at all. Because how would they do it?
They're already 30. It is now their fault.
Abi.
You want to learn.
It is now their fault.
Abi,
When they are 30, they are
Abi,
adults. You know, it is
Abi.
now their fault.
Because if that language suddenly became a requirement for you getting some visa.
And
You will learn it.
You will learn it. Don't people learn German?
Yes, and French.
Abi.
All right. So what has been your most rewarding experience in your journey so far in promoting the Yoruba culture?
Wow, really, it's the love I've received from people that I may never even meet, till I die. Because when I decided to start doing this, I actually was expecting rejection, because I was talking about things that people don't want to hear about. I was talking about Ogun or Ya, and I was surprised to see even Christians and Muslims embrace it.
How many of us are learning from you?
I mean, I felt really honored, and to see people that I even look up to come to me and say, "Oh, we love what you're doing," and then I was. A few months ago, the Oni of Ife told me that he really loves what I'm doing. He watches my videos. I mean, that made me feel like, wow, because in my wildest imaginations, I wouldn't have been able to, capture that in my mind. So to see things like this, being called here, to talk about things like this, and in a few years back, I may not have been able to really imagine this and all. So to see people accept what we do, Yoruba wasn't...
you're still going to come back. We've not finished. You're coming back. We've not finished.
You can't exhaust.
Just before we go, the name Washiri,
Yeah.
how did you come about it?
Well, Washiri is something I say a lot.
Okay.
I just say it a lot. So, and people started calling me Washiri because after talking, I'll just say Washiri. And when I started doing, and I finished talking, I'll just end it to Washiri. So when people started calling me that, I felt, oh, okay, let me just adopt. And I like what it means, the positiveness in the message.
For those who do not understand Yoruba,
it means you will prosper. You will do well.
Washiri,
you'll be prosperous. So when I say it to you and you say it back, we are exchanging positive vibes, and you can't tell Washiri to somebody you hate.
Okay.
I mean, you can't say that from a bitter heart. So it's a statement of love.
There's one name I want you to translate in English: Ajibola or Jeshola.
Ajibola means one who wakes up into honor.
Into honor.
Ola is not wealth.
It's not wealth.
Ola is not wealth.
I'm always asking him.
But no, you can.
Ola.
There's a sense in which Ola. You have Ola. What's the Yoruba word for?
From Abia State.
Ola is actually honor. Ola is honor. Ola is prestige. So there's a sense in which you can use it for wealth and all that. But strictly speaking, Ola is prestige. Ola is a high class. That is why a person of humble means can give his child abolanle. He doesn't have money, but his child is bearing abolanle because he's honorable. Yes, Ola is honor. Ola. That's why the Yoruba translation for the word honorable is Olola Julo. That's the meaning of Ola. So Ajibola, the one who wakes up into. So it's not like we're trying to get it after, no. The thing has been at home, so the child wakes up into it. You know, or Jeshola.
We're not going here to. He has to do that at Adigun.
Okay.
My dad has to hear. Adigun has to hear.
All right.
Ẹni adi fún gígùn là ń pè ládìgún. Ẹni adi. Tí tá bá di nǹkan is in the name Ajadi, for instance. Di. Wọ́n á sọ pé àbùdí ń tolókun, àbùdí ń tọlọ́sà. That D there means it's been packaged tight. It's not loose. I mean, it's well packed, prepared. When people dira, it means to prepare yourself, you know, to have yourself well prepared, to brace yourself. Now, an adigun is the one born prepared for prosperity, prepared for establishment. Adi, kobale gun. Gun is to be established, to succeed. When people want ogun, when people maye gun, aye egun. You know, your life will be firmly rooted in success. So an Adigun was born prepared for that successful life.
Have you interpreted Ojeshola? Have you?
Ojeshola.
Oje, àwọn ọlọ́jẹ̀, àwọn eléégún ló ń pè lọ́lọ́jẹ̀.
Eléégún.
So yeah, eléégún, you know, the Yoruba culture
Like
of masquerading.
the Anyons who are drummers.
I want to say the Anyon walk hand in hand with the eléégún. Eléégún, àwọn ẹni ọ̀jẹ̀, those who in their the main Orisha in their home is the one that, you know, deals with masquerading, you know. So, itaba bi money linye. So we have a culture of your prefix of your name announcing the kind of family you're from. If you worship Ogun in your family, then Ogun, you can have Ogun Shola, you can have Oshun Shola, you can have Ifa Shola, you can have Oje Shola. So the Oje there tells whoever is hearing it that this is where this guy is coming from. Àwọn máa ń gbé eégún. Then Oje Shiola.
Okay.
Are you speechless?
I'm speechless.
I would have loved you to interpret my name.
Anyway, I'm one of your followers on Instagram.
Okay.
And
That's the Ajibola Ojeshola.
I marvel at how you translate and speak Yoruba.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
You
I
cannot speak.
or translate the way you do. But I'm still better than the likes of Adebimpe. I can still find joy.
You are going to close this show with Yoruba. Yes, it's my turn this morning. You are closing this show in Yoruba. Thank you very much, Tayo, for coming.
Show.
But we just discussed Yoruba and preserving the culture and the language.
And today is Thursday.
And today is Thursday. They are speaking Yoruba in the House of Assembly
We
today.
are not at the House of Assembly.
All right. Thank you very much, Tayo Bello.
Thank you.
AKA Washiri.
Washiri.
What do you call her name?
Washiri.
Washiri.
His first name.
Wa?
Tayo.
Eh?
Tayo.
Are you Adetayo or Motayo?
Temitayo.
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 Don't
What's
make
the
it sound like
difference?
English.
Not Tayo.
Tayo.
But that's what I said. That's what I said now. Tayo.
You said Tayo.
Eh.
You said Tayo Bello.
Okay. Tayo. So we should not funkify. Okay. And we have been speaking extensively on the beauty of the Yoruba language and culture. Interesting conversation we've had here today. Thank you so much for your time. The conversation continues. Stay with us.